Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and welcome to the Pilot Blog. Today we're gonna speak about the Boeing company or about the huge problems within the Boeing company. I know that I'm a little late on this hype train, but nevertheless I want to say about this stuff. So this month on 9th of July, the Boeing company has agreed to pledge guilty to conspiring the defraud of the United States government in relation to the two fatal crashes of Boeing 737-8, so Boeing 737 MAX airplanes back in 2018 and 19, Lion Air and Ethiopian. So for two of those deadly crash catastrophic accidents which took many of the human lives, Boeing will just pay a fine. Up to 243.6 million United States dollars. Well, if we check out of how much Boeing earns per year, you'll see the massive decline after the MAX aviation accidents. That's the year that the second aviation accident with Boeing 737 MAX happened, the catastrophic accident. So now the net profit of the Boeing company is lower, but still they earn billions and billions of dollars, but their yearly budget is still negative. Also, Boeing agreed to invest $455 million into its safety program to improve the safety in general of the system because it actually sucks. But you know guys, I agree with the families of the victims of two of those Boeing 737 MAX crashes who would like to see the manufacturer face a criminal trial. The families are demanding a total of $24.8 billion in compensation, and they say that they will ask the judge to reject the plea deal. Well, potentially this huge sum of the compensation might put Boeing to the bottom. It has experienced problems with safety constantly, as we may judge with Alaska Airlines accident. Fortunately, in that accident, no one was hurt. But again, it showed that the safety culture of the company is low. There are some of the ex-employees of the Boeing company who would like to tell the truth in the court, who would like to witness of what is really happening in the airline with the safety management. I hope I spelled this correctly, Whistleblowers, because I'm not the native English speaker. So according to the same Salapur, who is the ex-employee of the Boeing 737, the Boeing has critically flawed manufacturing process of Boeing 787 Dreamliner airplanes. And Boeing retaliated by the time against him, so against the own employee, and put him on Boeing 777 as a punishment. Is the manufacturing of 777 a punishment on Boeing factory? Well, maybe they want to get him away from the 787 program, but the guy said that he found even more production problems with 777s. Again, the Boeing company strongly denies the claims. Well, actually, before there were some of the real concerns with Boeing 787 production, and Boeing even halted the delivery of 787s until further investigation. But the case went even further, and Sam said that there is the problem with assembling of the Boeing 787 parts. Sam stated that Boeing is unable to fill the tiny gaps then joining the separately manufactured parts of the fuselage of 1,000 airplanes, which could be critical because fuselage actually holds the pressure. Then you fly up in the skies. There is the big difference between the pressure inside the fuselage, so inside the cabin compartment and the cockpit, and outside the airplane. Basically, we see it as the balloon, so fuselage should be robust to withstand this internal pressure. But Boeing says that the claims about the structural integrity of 787s are inaccurate and do not represent the comprehensive work that Boeing has done to ensure quality. But something tells me that the safety management system of this company is not working well, because Sam is not the only person who complains about the case. There were some other employees of the Boeing company who would like to witness in the court about the company's wrongdoing, but suddenly, at a very short period, two of those witnesses lost their lives. At first, John Barron, the 62-year-old ex-employee of the Boeing company who has been given evidence in a whistleblower suit against the company, has been found dead in South California. What appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was expected to appear for the further questioning on Saturday but failed to appear because allegedly he shot himself. Barron's family told to the CBS News that he was looking forward to having his day in a court and hoped that it would force Boeing to change its culture. They added that he was suffering from PTSD and anxiety attacks as a result of being subjected to the hostile work environment at Boeing, which they believed led to his death. And miraculously, after the very short period of the time, Joshua Dean, who was just 45, died after the short illness. He was the former quality auditor of the Boeing supplier company Spirit AeroSystems. Here you may see that they even produce fuselages for the Boeing company. Joshua Dean warned about the manufacturing defects of the Boeing 737 MAX, and he became the second Boeing whistleblower who died this year. Dean was hospitalized after having trouble breathing. He was diagnosed with pneumonia and died 2 weeks later. And he was one of the key witnesses in the Boeing 737 MAX case. I remember how our airline ordered those airplanes. We were very excited, since it's always good to fly the new airplane just newly made from the factory, so potentially it should be more safer to fly those compared to the old Boeing 737 Classic, for example, which by that time we also had in our airline. But I was really surprised that in a training program there was no any simulator sessions included. Well, few of our instructors went to Seattle for the simulator sessions just to understand the airplane, but ordinary pilots like me, we were given just the computer-based training. Boeing thought that there is no huge difference between Boeing 737 NG and Boeing 737 MAX. But apparently there is the huge difference which pilots never experienced before. And definitely connecting the automatic trim function of the MCAS to a single alpha vane was a critical decision by the Boeing. I must say that from the pilot's perspective it was definitely unsafe. That system was very weak and not safe. There is no reservation at all if something goes wrong with that alpha vane. The angle of attack detector, which failed in both of the case, causing the abrupt movement of the stabilizer, pitching down both of the Boeing 737 MAX into the ground. Well, actually pilots could cope with the problem, but the origin of the issue lies with the Boeing design. And let's see how the Boeing CEO David Calhoun testifies in front of the Senate. He was really grilled by one of the senators. The name of the senator is Josh Hawley. He's from Missouri and he's the member of the Republican Party. Let's watch this very interesting video.
Mr. Calhoun, what is it that you get paid currently?
Senator, that's well disclosed in our proxy documents in each of the years that I've been employed.
Yeah, but what is it?
It's a big number, sir.
Well, let me help you out. It's $32.8 million this year. Does that sound right?
Yes, it does.
So he didn't want to say it first, but this information is actually public. More than $30 million per year. Wow, that's quite a lot for the Boeing CEO, but Boeing is not just the commercial organization, they have the military contract, so definitely that salary potentially could be for the CEO of such a big company.
That's a 45% increase over last year. Does that sound right?
Yes, it does.
But the increasement is dramatic, 45% since the last year. And by the time, as I show you, Boeing doesn't have the clear profit. It's still declining, but at the same time, the top managers of the company have their salary increased. It's crazy from what I see. Well, the idea that the salary itself doesn't really matter, but it shouldn't be increased if the company is in trouble for the top management.
What is it you get paid to do exactly?
I get paid to run the Boeing company.
Yeah. So just help me understand that. I mean, do you get paid for transparency? Is that one of the metrics for your income?
I think the board counts on me for transparency.
Really? Because you're under investigation for falsifying 787 inspection records. The Boeing's under criminal investigation for the Alaska Airlines flight. You were investigated by DOJ for criminal conspiracy to defraud the FAA. This is all in your tenure. This doesn't sound like a lot of transparency to me. What about safety? Is that a component of your salary?
It sure is, Senator.
You know, have you seen the reports that the subcontractor that you used to make that door piece that fell out of the sky, that when the FAA went and toured the facility, they found one door seal being lubricated with Dawn liquid dish soap and cleaned with a wet cheesecloth, and another was being checked with a hotel room key card. Does that sound like safety to you?
Definitely he is grilled there. Yeah, let's listen what he responds here.
Senator, I think our relationship with that particular supplier has been well documented, reviewed by the FAA and most certainly us. And I'm very intent on acquiring that company so that none of that ever happens.
Well, guys, unfortunately, this is not just happening with the Boeing company. There are many of the big corporations around the world which sometimes falsify everything, and they have enough money to pay for their lawyers in the courts to win those. And as in this case, Boeing might blame some of the contractors, as the CEO said, we're going to ensure that it will never happen, but the company which is producing, for example, those door pins or the doors is to blame for. With this multi-branch system, it's really hard to find who is really responsible. If you use the American jurisdiction, well, any kind of the investigation will take years and years.
You know, the FAA also says that Boeing still has not implemented the recommended steps back from 2019 and 2020 after the MAX crashes. You still have not taken the appropriate safety procedures or implemented what they recommended. I mean, how, if safety is a component of your $33 million compensation package, I mean, how can you possibly qualify for any of this? What about quality? Is quality part of your compensation package?
Senator, I meet with the FAA pretty regularly. They don't hold anything back, and I'm not aware of anything that has been cited with respect to those accidents.
He is definitely, with his mimics, we see that he's been grilled and he don't know what to say on those accusations. He tries to tell something. Well, let's listen.
We haven't taken action on it.
Really? Because we've had whistleblowers. You said you'd listen to whistleblower testimony. We've had multiple whistleblowers come before this committee and allege that Boeing is cutting every possible corner on quality and safety, not just in the past, but now. They've alleged that you've eliminated safety inspections, that there are fewer in quality and there are fewer inspectors doing quality inspections out there. They've alleged that when they raised quality issues and concerns, they were reassigned, they were retaliated against, they were physically threatened. That doesn't sound like attention to quality to me. And yet you're getting paid $33 million a year. It's extraordinary.
Senator, we have increased our quality inspectors significantly.
How much has your stock price increased while you've been at Boeing?
Here I didn't understand. The whistleblowers say that the number of the inspectors reduced, but CEO says that the number of the inspectors increased. Well, I think everything of that should be settled in the court in this case, but yeah, Boeing definitely cuts the corners.
It hasn't, and I don't watch it much.
Have you done any stock buybacks while you've been at Boeing?
Not in my job, no.
How about your profits? Have your profits increased at all while
I haven't had any profits, sir.
I'm sorry?
I have not had any profits.
Yeah. You know, I think the truth is, Mr. Calhoun, you're not focused on safety. You're not focused on quality. You're not focused on transparency. All of this is in the record. But I think actually you're focused on exactly what you were hired to do, which is that you're cutting corners. You are eliminating safety procedures. You are sticking it to your employees. You are cutting back jobs because you're trying to squeeze every piece of profit you can out of this country. This company. You're strip mining it. You're strip mining Boeing. It was one of the greatest American companies ever. It has employed thousands of people in my state. And you are strip mining it for profit, shareholder value, and you're being rewarded for it. You got a huge raise, a huge increase. So it's working out great for you. For the American people, they're in danger. For your workers, they're in peril. For your whistleblowers, they literally fear for their lives, but you're getting compensated like never before.
Well, it's not just a threat for Americans, it's the threat worldwide because Boeings are everywhere.
Don't you think maybe your priorities are misplaced here? I mean, don't you think maybe it's time to get back to focusing on making quality planes and paying your workers well and taking care of the little guys who got you to where you are? That's not a rhetorical question.
Well, here, obviously, Senator is a politician. He refers to his audience. He speaks, let's say, from his perspective. But in general, what he says, I think, is true.
Senator, I don't recognize any of the Boeing you described.
Really?
And I want to assure...
You don't recognize the Boeing that has airplanes falling out of the sky? That has had 2 MAXs crash, that has had pieces of doors fall out of the sky, that have had whistleblowers come before, they've sat right where you have sat and told us, these are your employees who have told us that when these are the engineers, by the way. Are you an engineer?
I'm not, sir.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And they have said that they're not listened to, that they're retaliated against, that they're threatened. That's the reality of Boeing today. That's your company that you have created. Now, I don't recognize it either from the company it used to be decades ago, but under your leadership, that's what Boeing is, and you're being rewarded for it handsomely. Handsomely. Don't you think there's something wrong with that? Why haven't you resigned?
Senator, I stand by what I said, and I want to assure the great employees in your state that That is not the way we operate the
Why
company, and it never
haven't you
will be. And if you
resigned?
would like my chief engineer to talk about what he sees and
No, I
hears,
want to hear from you, because
yeah,
what I
go
hear
ahead.
from you is a lot of this team does that and that team does that, and I listen to the whistleblowers, but I don't meet with them. And I've heard about all this stuff that you Congress have meddlesomely asked for because the public wants to see it. Gosh darn them, but you actually haven't supervised any of it. I've heard that. It's a lot of it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. But meanwhile, you're getting paid a heck of a lot of money. It's unbelievable. If anybody's coming out of this deal good, it's you. Why haven't you resigned?
So actually the Boeing CEO tried to call his chief engineer, but chief engineer is unaware of lots of the things of what is happening, let's say, on the ground in the manufacturer factories themselves. With this huge company, for the chief engineer, it's absolutely impossible to check every aspect. That's why there should be hierarchy, so every person is responsible for his or her particular job. But the system itself is built from the top. The signals are coming from the top, orders, etc. And if there is no feedback from the ordinary employees, or if management put the filters for this feedback, the system itself won't work effectively. That's why the opinion of the ordinary employees is very important to be heard in the court. So there is no big difference between Boeing CEO or his chief engineer. They'll follow the same opinion, they'll sing the same song.
Senator, I'm sticking this through. I'm proud of having taken the job. I'm proud of our
Proud of this
safety record, and I am
You're proud of
very
this safety
proud
record?
of our Boeing people.
You're proud of this safety record?
I am proud of every action we have taken.
Every action you've taken?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Wow. There's some news for you. Well, behind you can't see it. Behind you, the folks are showing pictures of the people who are the victims of your safety record. I think we can all see them. And I think the American public, when they fear to get on their airplanes, they understand your safety record. And frankly, sir, I think it's a travesty that you're still in your job.
Yeah, definitely it was a really strong appeal against the CEO of the Boeing company. He didn't know what to actually respond or say. He wasn't prepared for this sort of the interview in Senate. Well, as for me, guys, it's kind of the positive signal after all out there, because this question has been raised by the media sources, by the politicians, and by society in general. We shouldn't accept any sort of the arguments on safety. Yes, we're unable to achieve the total safety. But clearly in the MAX accident cases, it could have been avoided if Boeing didn't go to the profit number one priority, and actually now they're losing their profit, they have terrible disastrous reputation, and with some time the other manufacturers might take the market, unfortunately for the American airplane producer. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm planning to film more stuff on my channel. As usual, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.